In court that day, the prosecutor didn't just go after the boy on trial. He pointed at his uncle, a janitor in stained work clothes, and called him the reason the boy was guilty. But before that moment, Marcus Harris was just trying to get through the courthouse doors.
Marcus Harris pushed open the courthouse doors with one hand. His work gloves were still clipped to his belt. He hadn't gone home to change. His nephew's trial was scheduled for 9 sharp, and the bus from the south side ran late. His coveralls were clean, but stained. Patches of bleach that never came out. He stepped to the security line, holding out his ID. The bailiff gave him one look and frowned. "Family only in this case," the man said flatly. Marcus kept his voice steady. "That's why I'm here. I'm his uncle." The bailiff tilted the ID toward the light, like it couldn't be real. "This seating is for immediate family. You can wait outside." Marcus didn't move. After a pause, the bailiff waved him through but muttered, "Don't cause problems." Inside, Marcus spotted his sister standing by the hallway wall, clutching her purse. She avoided his eyes. He walked up anyway. "Denise," he said. She shifted back a step. "Marcus, maybe just sit in the back. Folks already talking." That cut him deep. He looked like what he was, a janitor. She didn't want people thinking he was her son's father. The clerk read the case number, and the room went quiet. Marcus's nephew, Darren, was led in wearing county orange. His wrists were chained, his head down. Marcus leaned forward. He wanted Darren to look up, just once, to see he wasn't alone. But Darren kept his eyes on the floor. The prosecutor, a tall man with slicked back hair, stood and cleared his throat. "Ladies and gentlemen, this is a simple case. Theft, flight. A young man who followed the wrong examples." Then he turned, lifted his arm, and pointed. "Like that man right there." Marcus felt the eyes. The prosecutor didn't even use Marcus's name. He just pointed straight at him and said, "That man," like Marcus was proof of the boy's failure. Murmurs spread in the gallery. The judge banged her gavel, but the echo stuck. Marcus didn't move. His jaw set. The prosecutor called his first witness. A man with a thin mustache and a nervous laugh shuffled to the stand. He swore in, sat down, and started his story. Said Darren had bragged about stealing the car. Said Darren told him, word for word, "I'll never get caught." Marcus's head dropped. He knew that voice. He'd heard that same man months ago, out behind the courthouse, trying to rope another kid into trouble. Marcus had been mopping floors, quiet in the corner, and the man didn't notice him listening. Back then, Marcus had written it off as street talk. Now he saw it for what it was: bait. The defense lawyer stood to cross-examine, but barely pushed. A few weak questions, no real fight. She sat back down quick, like she didn't want to be there at all. Then another movement caught Marcus's eye. A man slipped in through the side door, clean shirt, pressed pants. The head custodian for Marcus's job, Mr. Franklin. He didn't take a seat in the gallery. He walked right up to the prosecutor's table, bent down, and whispered in his ear like they were old friends. Marcus's stomach sunk. Franklin had always been polite at work, but too polite. The kind that smiled while holding you in place. Now here he was, speaking low to the man trying to bury Darren. Marcus stared at his nephew. He finally looked up, just for a second. Their eyes met. Fear sat heavy on his face. Marcus shifted in his seat, straightened his back. He could feel the bailiff watching him, hand close to his belt. The same bailiff who had tried to keep him out. Marcus didn't move yet, but inside, he was already standing. Marcus stood up. The chair scraped the floor, sharp enough to turn every head. The judge's eyes cut to him. "Sir, sit down. You'll have your turn if you're called." Marcus shook his head. "No, Your Honor. I need to speak." The courtroom rustled. The bailiff stepped closer, hand brushing his belt. Marcus didn't move. He planted his feet like he'd done on job sites for 20 years. The judge's voice dropped now, sharper. "If you disrupt this court again, you'll be removed." Marcus looked at her straight on. "I can't sit while lies are being told about my nephew. I heard that man," he pointed at the witness, "months ago, talking about setting kids up. I wrote down what I heard. Dates, times, places. I still have the notes." Gasps scattered through the gallery. The prosecutor jumped to his feet. "Objection. He's not a witness. He's not under oath. This is irrelevant." But Marcus kept going, his voice steady. "He said the police would pay him if he gave names. I didn't understand then. I do now." The witness's face drained of color. He shifted in the stand, eyes darting toward the prosecutor. The judge raised her gavel, ready to shut it down. Then she froze. Her gaze locked on Marcus, like she was seeing him for the first time. Her mouth parted, but no sound came. Marcus tilted his head, wondering why she stared like that. She whispered his name, not the formal kind, just, "Marcus Harris?" The courtroom stiffened. Marcus nodded once. "Yes, ma'am." The judge leaned back in her chair, eyes still on him. "Do you remember Lincoln Homes, the old projects off River Street?" Marcus frowned. "I remember. That's where I grew up." Her face changed. Something soft broke through the mask she wore on the bench. "So did I," she said. You're the one who stood up for the little kids. You broke up fights. You made sure we could walk home safe." Murmurs ran through the room again. The prosecutor shifted uncomfortably. Marcus kept his voice even. "That was a long time ago. I'm here for Darren." The judge cleared her throat, straightened in her seat. She tapped the gavel once, more to steady herself than the room. "I will allow this, for the moment. But Mr. Harris, you are walking a dangerous line. You understand?" Marcus nodded. "I understand." The prosecutor slammed his hand on the table. "Your Honor, this is outrageous. He's no lawyer, no sworn witness. He's a janitor with a story, that's all." Marcus looked right at him. "A janitor who listens, a janitor who writes things down when men like your witness run their mouths." The gallery hummed louder, folks whispering, leaning in. The bailiff stayed close but didn't touch him. The judge rubbed her temple, then spoke. "Mr. Harris, if you truly have notes, you will present them, right here, right now." Marcus reached into his pocket, pulled out a folded slip of paper worn thin from being carried. He laid it flat on the defense table. The defense lawyer's eyes widened as she scanned the writing. The judge leaned forward, eyes flicking between Marcus, the witness, and the prosecutor. The silence stretched heavy. Then she spoke. "The court will recess for 15 minutes while I review this." The gavel cracked. The room buzzed with voices. The bailiff motioned for Marcus to sit, but the judge raised her hand. "Let him be," she said. Her voice was quiet, but it carried. Marcus stayed on his feet, eyes on Darren, who for the first time all morning lifted his chin high. The judge came back in with the slip of paper in her hand. She didn't sit right away. She stood at the bench, staring at the writing like it weighed more than it should. Then she lowered herself into her chair. "Court is back in session," she said. Her voice was steady, but the way she gripped the paper told a different story. She turned to the defense lawyer. "Counselor, did you read this?" "Yes, Your Honor." She leaned closer. "And what?" She shifted in her seat. Her face tightened like she was swallowing something bitter. Then she spoke, her words quick, almost blurted. "I was told not to challenge this witness. The prosecutor told me to keep it simple, not to dig too deep." Gasps broke out across the gallery. The prosecutor leapt to his feet. "That's a lie!" But the lawyer shook her head. "I have the emails. I can show them." Marcus's hands curled into fists. For the first time since it started, he saw Darren sit taller. The judge's face hardened. She turned her eyes on the prosecutor. "Mr. Garrison, is there any truth to this?" He sputtered. "Of course not. This is all distraction. That man," he pointed again at Marcus, "is twisting the process." Before the judge could answer, another voice cut in. "Your Honor, I can back him up." It was the bailiff, the same one who had tried to keep Marcus out. He stepped forward, clearing his throat. "I heard the witness bragging last week. Said he was getting paid for testifying. I didn't think much of it then, but now," he trailed off, shifting under the room's stare. The judge was stunned. She scanned the room slowly, then turned back to the prosecutor. "This court will not proceed with testimony under suspicion of tampering." Her voice was sharp now, no trace of hesitation. "Your case is compromised." The prosecutor tried again. "Your Honor!" "Enough," she snapped. The gavel cracked once, loud. "The defendant is released on bail. This court orders an immediate review of prosecutorial conduct." The room erupted. Some clapped, others shouted. Darren's mother sobbed into her hands. Darren himself looked at Marcus with wide, shining eyes, like he was seeing him for the first time. Marcus didn't smile. He just nodded once, steady. Like this was never about winning a round, it was about giving the boy a chance. The prosecutor's face had gone red, his lips pressed into a hard line. The judge didn't look at him again. Marcus gathered his gloves and lunch pail from under the seat. He was ready to slip out the side door before the noise died down. "Mr. Harris," the judge called. He froze. She leaned forward on the bench, her voice softer now. "Don't leave yet. I'd like a word." The gallery quieted, waiting to see what would happen. The room slowly emptied, but Marcus stayed where he was. Darren had been let out, free for now. Family crowded around him in the hall. Marcus didn't join. He sat with his gloves in his hand, waiting like the judge had asked. For a while she came down from the bench, robe draped over her arm. Without the distance of the chair and gavel, she looked different, tired, human. "Marcus," she said quietly, "you don't know what it meant to see you stand up. Not just for him, for yourself." He looked at her a long moment. "All I did was tell the truth." She nodded. "Sometimes that's the hardest thing in this building." He didn't answer. He lifted his lunch pail, ready to head for the door. Out in the hall, Darren broke free from the crowd and ran to him, hugged him tight. "Uncle, you saved me." He held his shoulder. "No, I gave you a chance. What you do with it, that's on you." Darren nodded, tears in his eyes. If you believe stories like Marcus's deserve to be heard, don't stay silent. Hit the like button, share this video, and drop a comment below. And if you want more powerful stories like this one, make sure to subscribe. Watch this one next. Trust me, you're not ready for what happens.